Stephen A. Smith went on the worst news show in America. That's, of course, Chris Cuomo's show on News Nation. And I have to say, this one threw me for a loop, man. This one was shocking to me. It shows how, look, there are some commentators who are online too much, but then there's also the opposite problem of certain commentators who are just not online at all about the Epstein files. Here we go.
If you're a Republican, if you're the GOP, I mean, the big, beautiful bill was just passed, even though the deficit is going to escalate from 3.3 trillion over 5 trillion, assuming you believe the Congressional Budget Office and all of this other stuff. I mean, with all of these things that's going on, with the 2017 tax cuts reserved, with so much stuff that's going on that the left didn't want to happen, that you on the right said you wanted to happen, with the border being closed, supposedly that being handled, with migrants being escorted out of this country in droves, according to you, and what you wanted. You're in an uproar off the Epstein list? That's all you've got?
He's framing this as a way to attack Democrats, Stephen A. Smith is. But here's the thing. It actually was not the Democrats who sort of led the charge against this. In fact, at the beginning, you had some Democrats who also were on the page. Richie Torres said this on CNN. He was like, shut up about the Epstein files. Like, Richie Torres was like, yeah, I don't know why we're talking about this. A bunch of Democrats said that. A bunch of Democrats thought that. In fact, that was their position all along. I was losing my mind because that was their position during the election. We got the story that Trump was best friends with Epstein for over a decade, and Kamala didn't bring it up. Tim Walz didn't bring it up. I was losing my fucking mind.
All right, let's break this down clearly. Stephen A. Smith is not going after Democrats. He's talking directly to Republicans. You can hear it in his words. You're a Republican. The GOP, big, beautiful bill just passed. Tax cuts, border security, deportations. You got what you wanted, and you're still mad about Epstein? He's basically saying, you claim all these big wins, but instead of focusing on policy, you're obsessed with conspiracies like Epstein. Now, let's talk about what Kyle does here. He takes this clip and immediately reframes it, telling you Stephen is attacking Democrats. That's false. But people believe it because they're emotional and tribal. They trust the narrator over the actual words. And this is a perfect example of the Twitter bubble effect. Channels like Kyle, Mockler, Tim Pool, Brian Tyler Cohen, they all live in these ideological echo chambers. They wake up, open Twitter, see what's trending in their partisan corner, and then they rush to push it on their channels. They don't stop to verify, question, or analyze. They don't pull up transcripts or look at the full context. They just grab a viral clip because that's what pays. It's fast content for cheap clicks. This is how misinformation spreads, not always because they're intentionally lying, like many right-wing outlets do, but because they're lazy and unserious. The goal is business, not informing you. Kyle's biggest weakness, like most left-wing channels, is this lack of seriousness. They act like they're fighting for truth, but in reality, they're just feeding you the same partisan dopamine hits as the other side. This is no different than Tim Pool. He finds some right-wing article that supports a profitable narrative for him and runs with it, even when it doesn't back up his claims. So what happens? You get an audience that's at the mercy of these creators' business interests, not actual facts. That's exactly what happened here. And it's why we have to think critically and not just accept what someone tells us, even if we like them.
If Kyle was more serious, he would have actually gone to the source clip and called out the real stupid things Stephen A. Smith said, instead of misleading his audience into thinking Smith was attacking Democrats, which, by the way, he does do often, just not in the clip Kyle played. So in the actual interview, Smith says, I could give a lollipop about the client list. It has no effect on me whatsoever. I have a life. I think we'll be just fine without knowing whether or not there was really a client list. This shows how disconnected he is from reality. He tries to play the enlightened centrist above it all, but he just comes across like an ignorant boomer complaining about something he doesn't even understand. We're talking about elite sex trafficking, not gossip. Then he says, I don't blame Trump one bit. With all the power that you possess, that's why you're upset? Really? Here he acts like using power to cover things up is just politics as usual, and shrugs it off. That's not enlightened. That's normalizing corruption. Instead of focusing on these actual ridiculous takes, Kyle chose to misrepresent Smith's target, proving again that he's more interested in easy content for his Twitter bubble audience than serious analysis. You are watching the Debate Me channel. Debate me in the comments below. Click on the like button and subscribe.